You're listening to the Human Story Podcast, conversations on the all-encompassing human experience.
This is brought to you by Yoked Media.
Well, welcome to another edition of the Human Story with myself, Lincoln.
Hi, I'm Shaamiela. Welcome back.
It's been an interesting time, Shami.
It has been.
Lots has happened in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be here. I want to say the last episode we did on forgiveness, I've received a lot of feedback from people, very positive feedback, if I could put it that way, if one could really correlate it to forgiveness. It's so interesting to see how the topic resonated with so many people. One would really think it's quite a deep topic, but you find that many people obviously have struggles in these areas. You know, they're struggling to forgive someone in some other aspect, maybe themselves, but we'll get into that topic like we mentioned before.
Yeah.
But yeah, like from my perspective, it's just been very interesting to see how people have really taken to the episode of forgiveness.
It has been. I think the response for me is more about how you define it.
Yeah.
And I think how people have understood forgiveness.
Yes.
I think we all have such different definitions, but also I think the action that we believe has to come with it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think us speaking about the process beneath the decision to forgive
100%.
is what resonated. And that's the feedback I've been getting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very interesting.
So here we are on another episode, and today we're really excited because we're introducing another voice. This is very symbolic. It's very symbolic because it's our first guest that we're going to introduce to you in a few minutes. And because this guest works very, very, very closely with the breath and the voice. And so I'd love to introduce you to Dr. Sara Matchett. Welcome, Doctor.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Shaamiela and Lincoln.
Yeah. Welcome. And we're so excited to have you. Lincoln's been listening to me for weeks, go on and on about this, just about the experience that one has when one is in your presence, Sara. But maybe let me start with an introduction for our audience and to just give you a background on who Sara Matchett is. Dr. Sara Matchett is an award-winning theatre director and associate professor at the Centre for Theatre, Dance and Performance Studies at the University of Cape Town. She's also a lead trainer of Fitzmaurice Voicework, the regional coordinator of Fitzmaurice Institute for Africa, and an advanced breathwork practitioner with Breathwork Africa. As a traditional healer in training, she integrates ancestral wisdom with contemporary healing and creative practices. Sara's work explores the body as a site for knowing and transformation, engaging breath as a catalyst to weave body, voice, and imagination in the fostering of presence, creativity, and healing. Wow.
That's a mouthful.
It is. It is. And I just want to begin by saying that that's so true of who you are and how one experiences you. And I was just sharing with Lincoln the first time I met you in person. The first time I saw you was with, I think it was a masterclass with Breathwork Africa.
Online.
Yes.
Of course.
That was the first, my introduction to you. I immediately loved you. I immediately felt like the realness of your energy reached me. And then, we came to your home space where you do
Breathing on the bend.
Yes, breathing on the bend. And at that time, I was completing my portfolio, obviously, to certify. And I was very struck by how deeply present you are immediately, you know, when we introduced ourselves. So, I just wanted to say that what an honor to have you with us.
What an honor it is to be here and to be your first guest.
Yes.
I love that.
I know.
Thank you.
Yeah,
pleasure.
It's so wonderful. I wanted to actually just maybe as a starting point. So this is really, as we said, you know, it's about the work that you do and what you can share with our listeners and our audience, but it's also about getting to know the human being beneath that work and, you know, what powers that individual and what inspires them and what keeps you going, you know, with all of that. So maybe I want to begin by asking you, not about your work, actually, and ask you, what is it like for you to be a human in this era of humanity?
Gosh, especially in this age of AI, this age of kind of global wars, genocides, I think that we really need to connect with what it means to be human, or the humaneness of the human.
Yeah.
So for me, what does it mean? It means staying connected to people. And so one of the things that's really important, and one of the ways that I think that helps me to stay connected, is through my connection with my family.
Yeah.
We cook together. We sit around our round dining room table every evening. We eat together. We talk. We share what happened in the day. We talk about seemingly frivolous things. We talk about difficult things. There are many tears that, are shared around that table. There's much laughter. And I think, my partner and I are raising an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old, both in first-year university. And a few years ago, one of them came home and said to us, while we were sitting around the dining room table sharing our meal, how they shared with us how grateful they are to be able to have this in their lives. I think, and they said it all makes sense to us now. We didn't quite understand it before. We also didn't allow them to have mobile phones until they were 15.
Wow,
so that was,
well
that
done.
was hectic in terms of peer pressure.
Yeah.
They now get it. They now understand.
Okay.
So they're at the age where they can come back and say, we understand the choices, right? And so it was lovely to get that feedback. We understand, and we're so grateful that we have this, and that we don't, that we can have a cooked meal and have conversations, because a lot of their friends were eating takeouts in their bedrooms, and so there wasn't that space for relationality.
Sure.
And so I think that cultivating that relationality for me is about being a human in this body here and now.
Yes.
And I think one of the other things that has become increasingly important for me since I was called to become a traditional healer and on this healing journey, this training journey, whatever you want to call it, a journey of Ukutwasa, is the relationality and connection with our ancestors. Every morning I get on my knees and I talk to my ancestors.
Sure.
I talk to them because they are just here.
Yeah.
They are just here. The veil is very thin.
Yes.
And so this idea, the philosophy of Sankofa, the Twi, Ghanaian Twi philosophy of Sankofa, where you go back to the past to fetch the wisdom, bring it into the present, and make sense of it in the present to kind of open up the future, is really important for me. So those relational conversations that I have every morning, and then family and family in our home is very porous. It's a very porous word, because we have many people who live with us and are in and out of our home, who we consider family, who are not blood family. So what is it? I guess to come back to the question, what does it mean to me? It means being relational, a relational being in a body, and so it's being in this body and being kind of connected to my body and my breath that tethers me to my humanness, to my humanity.
Yeah.
That's profound.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me because Sarah, Shaamiela and I, we always speak about a common thread throughout our podcast. And I mean, it is the human story, but we always speak about like the relational part about life, because we feel it's such an important component that is actually kind of been lost if you really talk about it. I think it's the narratives are driven through fear. I mean, if you look at sort of the West and some of the government systems and you see the division amongst people, I think the relational part and just having empathy with people and like you're saying, having conversations with family, whatever family looks like to you, whether it's immediate family. But I love the fact that you spoke about relationality because for us, that's so important because I think we've actually lost a large part of that in humanity. And because it's us and them, it causes a lot of division. So it's so, I don't know what the word is, encouraging to hear that you have these conversations at your table.
I just saw a reel last night and there was in the background of the person who was speaking, his page is actually called Humanity Archives, which is interesting. And he talks about, the history that we were never taught and how we've also lost our humanity and how we treat each other because of that lost history. Yeah. And one of the quote behind him said that it's by Terence, "I'm human, so nothing human can be alien to me." Yeah, it's just what you said just made me reflect on this idea that no human can be alien to you.
Yeah.
And so family goes beyond blood.
Yes.
It absolutely goes beyond blood. I feel that.
It's so interesting. I was just, as you were talking, I was thinking about just kind of expanding on this idea of family going beyond blood. In our ipetlo, the school that I'm being trained as a traditional healer in.
Yes.
We refer to each other as brothers and sisters. So I have an older sister and a younger brother and 2 younger sisters, and that's how you refer to one another. It's like a family. It's the whole school is structured on family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder, I saw that you obviously won an award, a creative award for Womb of Fire.
Yes.
When you speak about how we hold on to past experiences and some of the work you've done in South Africa and Africa as a whole, south of Africa. But in terms of those, you speak about the body being a site of stories. Some of the work that you've done, more on an experiential part, how have you seen some of the work that you've done in your own experiences and the work that you do? How does that show up in people's bodies?
So I think our experiences are stored in the body. I mean, I think we kind of, at a cellular level. And it was actually through my training to become a Fitzmaurice Voicework teacher. And so I'm as Shaamiela mentioned at the beginning, I'm a lead trainer of Fitzmaurice Voicework, named after the person who founded Fitzmaurice Voicework, Catherine Fitzmaurice. I realized when I was doing my training how much, the body holds the score, right?
Yes.
It's like I realized I actually felt that in my body. And then what started happening when part of the training was to make a solo performance. And when I was doing the work, which focuses a lot on breath and entering a state of generative chaos, if I want to put it that way, to kind of move, to unlock the patterns and habits and tensions that have been kind of held in the body or accumulated in the body over the years. We work with the breath to move these surface and then move these patterns and habits and tensions. I realized that I started to see images quite vividly.
Okay.
And I became curious about this.
Yes.
So I ended up doing a whole PhD on it.
Okay.
Amazing.
And I then started working with a healer friend of mine who said, well, why don't you do this and then free write? So I free wrote and then she said, I said, okay, I'm gonna circle the images that jump out at me. And then I'm going to give you these images and you read them back to me while I do this destructuring sequence is what we call it.
Sure.
And then I'm going to speak. I'm going to free speak because I don't think this free writing takes too much time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would free speak and then she'd record me on a phone or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like stuff that was coming out, and I was like, oh, yes, it's in my body. But then I realized it's not only my stuff, but I think it's possibly stuff of my ancestors that is living in my body.
Sure.
That we know we've kind of epigenetics.
Yes,
our ancestral experiences, the experiences of our ancestors live in our bodies, right?
Yeah.
So these things were coming out.
Yeah.
So I think this is a long story to answer your question. I think that if you were to think of a buck out in the wild, and I think Peter Levine in Waking the Tiger writes about this, right?
Yes.
A buck senses danger. Maybe there's a lion in the hood.
Okay.
Yes.
The buck is not going to fight because it's going to lose, right?
Sure.
Yes.
It may put foot and run. It may take flight.
Sure.
But it may also freeze. So let's say the buck goes with the freeze option. Hopefully the lion passes, the danger passes, for the buck that is.
Yes.
What does the buck do? The buck gets up, the buck shakes itself out, it tremors,
Got you.
continues eating the grass. What do? We hold.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And in the holding,
Yes.
and we're told not to tremor, in fact.
Yes.
Stop it.
Yes.
Stop it. Keep still, right? Because the tremor is the body's natural way of bringing the nervous system back into a state of balance. We tremor when we're cold, when we're excited, when we're hungry, when we fearful. But it's the way of bringing the nervous system back into balance. And we are told, no, don't. Right. And so we hold. And in that holding, we create those holding patterns in our bodies. So we accumulate these stresses and tensions, and they become new patterns.
Okay.
So,
Got you.
So often when we release those, they come with images and stories. And I think those patterns are also sometimes inherited from our ancestors as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So maybe we come into the world with certain patterns.
Got you.
Yeah.
And do you think we're meant to do anything with what we receive from from our ancestors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think it depends on what you receive. But sometimes the messages are very direct.
Okay. Yeah.
And you will know.
Right. And you'll know what to do as
You will
well?
know what to do, because if you go and do the stuff, if there's something held in your body, right? If you are feeling a particular pain in your, I don't know, your spine, maybe.
Yes.
If it comes to you, this is my grandmother on my father's side, right?
Yeah.
She is telling you something. You need to listen.
Right.
Okay.
Right? And then you need to do something. It's not enough just listening.
Yes.
And in healing that, in doing something, you are healing your grandmother.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Not just yourself.
Yes. This idea that the healing goes backward and forward, right?
So the pain manifests. You know, if you get a clear sense that this is not of me, but it's of my ancestors.
Someone in the past, yeah.
You by healing yourself, you're healing them.
I love that idea, and the connection between us, and I feel like again there's this we pretend to be these hard, tough individuals, and we believe we have a tough exterior, but if you touch yourself, you're soft.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing for me to just reflect on, is that you actually have a very soft skin. Nobody actually has a tough skin. Yeah. And this is how we walk around. And as you say, with those stories that live and exist in us, and they come through, as we've just experienced, Lincoln and I, through the breath, through how you hold it in the body. So I wanted to just reflect on, Lincoln and I just did a practice, and so this was an incredible precursor to our interview. Is we did would you mind explaining what it is that we did?
Yeah, so we did 2 of the positions, or as they're sometimes called, efforts of the Fitzmaurice Voicework destructuring sequence, which is about it's kind of a combination of yoga, shiatsu, and bioenergetics.
Sure.
So you invite a tremor.
Yes.
And you allow that tremor to move through the body. So you allow it to affect the breath. You allow the breath to move the tremor through the body, and you allow whatever you're feeling in your body to be expressed into the space, into the exterior world through voice.
Gotcha.
So it's a way of surfacing these tensions, patterns, habits, so that they can be moved through the body, so that you can create energetic space in the body, so that energy can flow, so that breath can flow, so that voice can flow, so that you can become, your whole body becomes resonating chamber, which means you can touch people energetically.
Right.
You move from being a talking head to a resonating body.
Yes. And it was incredible how much space, I don't know, I mean, for both Lincoln and I, how we felt after, and we did a very short practice, how much space I felt. And then you had applied some pressure, which is just, what is it, just beneath my collarbone. Yeah. And then the tremor that came through my body. And my realization was that part of that is a judgment, a block, maybe,
and
you
protection.
know.
Sometimes we armor ourselves, and sometimes we have to armor ourselves.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
But I think it's about understanding when it's okay to not armor ourselves.
Yes.
When we can let that go.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just reflect on that and ask you to speak about, that is something that we often practice in somatic release, emotional regulation. I mean, there's mantras, which is, repetition. So I wanted to ask you to just talk a little bit about the voice, breath, and sound, because what you introduced was sound in the practice. Why do we include sound?
The voice as sound.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do we include sound?
So breath is, voice is breath, right? Voice is breath. It's the vocal folds when they are closed, and when we push the breath through the vocal folds, they vibrate, they create voice. So my understanding is that what the voice does, when the breath transitions into voice, it brings us to a tangible sense of breath in the body. We can feel the breath in the body. And so when we feel the breath in the body, it connects us to our internal worlds. It develops our interoception, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
And I find that sometimes it's a little challenging or less tangible when you're working just with the breath. When you bring the voice into the practice and the tremor, but the tremor work does bring you into, it brings you into. And when you bring the voice in, the voice is moving that energy. It kind of gives power. I see the voice as like powering the breath. It amplifies, if I can use it wrong. It amplifies the breath, right? The breath's ability to surface and to undo those habits, patterns, and tensions. That's the way that I see it and feel it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, from what you're saying, I'm almost understanding it as the breath gives, or the voice gives the breath a form.
Yes,
a kind of form.
Yes, exactly.
And it's making me think about, how the voice then comes through the body. In the there's so many different forms it does take, for our listeners to just think about, like, and I mean, this is obviously central to your work, whether you're talking from here, or you're talking from here, or,
So we talk about vocal dynamics, right?
Yes.
And so and if I could just put the three kind of pillars of vocal dynamics are pitch, pace, and volume.
Yes.
And then you break them down.
Sure.
So your pitch is what you talked about. But we have what we call resonance bands in the body. So you have that belly band or the cow band, like right, that way, that or a sumo wrestler.
Yes.
Then you have a chest band,
Yes.
which would be your actor.
Okay.
Right, I'm here.
All right.
I'm warm. I'm,
Yeah.
you know, you can it's like that warm voice. And then you can move to the throat, the mouth, the nasal cavities, the top of the head.
Yes. Right. Yes.
All I want for Christmas, Mariah Carey.
And so if you can expand your range. There's something else I want to say just now about that and how it translates into life. But just it gives you it speaks to this idea of vocal dynamics. You have a more dynamic voice. Pitch, pace. So sometimes we speed up.
Yes.
Sometimes we need to really slow down.
Yes.
And that has to do with breath, rhythm. Sometimes when you take a breath in, the thought takes a little longer to get to you.
Yes.
Sometimes it's immediate.
Yes.
Right? So breathing is meaning. So every thought has a breath. And sometimes the thought is immediate, sometimes it's around the corner, sometimes it's far away. So pauses, right?
Yeah.
And how we use our vowels. And I mean, there's so much. So the vowels are like if we have to think of a river, are like the water in a river. The consonants are like the river banks. So the vowels are like give emotional expression to words. The consonants are create the form, right?
Okay.
The form and the flow again.
Yes.
And so how you use the consonants, right?
Yes.
And I'm deliberately playing with it.
Yes.
Or the vowels.
Right.
So you can play with pace and then volume. So this gives the voice a dynamic, which makes it more inviting. It invites the listener in.
Yes.
But there's something I wanted to come back to, and I was pausing there saying I'm there. I recently, last year, I did some work at the Roy Hart Voice Center in France, in the south of France, at a place called Malarague. Roy Hart, interestingly enough, was South African.
Okay.
He left South Africa in 1948. His parents didn't want him to study theatre. He came from a very Orthodox Jewish family, didn't want him to study theatre. He went to study theatre at RADA in London.
Okay.
But then I think, if my memory serves me, he left RADA and started doing voice work with a man by the name of A.W. Wolfson, who was a psychologist who worked with voice and the healing voice, really. And what Wolfson was exploring was how to expand our range. We need to expand I think he reached 5 octaves. People who worked with him were able to explore a range of 5 octaves.
Okay.
So that's quite a lot.
Yeah.
And Roy Hart then took this work and worked with actors and increased that range to 8 octaves.
Wow.
So I did work with him. It was so liberating.
Sure.
So when you are able to expand your range and the range of 8 octaves is huge. I don't know if I didn't get to 8 octaves, but my range certainly felt huge.
Yeah.
How it translates into life and your ability to be expansive in the world.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay. I think that brings me to the next question, and it's kind of more practical question. If someone out there is listening and they go, they're struggling to find their voice, both literally and metaphorically, what is a common thing, kind of a practical thing that someone can do if they felt they've lost their voice?
Start with breath.
Okay.
That's your starting point. Really understanding how we came into the world breathing is important. So really understanding the mechanics of breathing and breathing optimally. And now this is something I say a lot.
Yeah.
We came into the world breathing optimally, and voicing optimally. Have you ever heard of a baby losing their voice?
No.
In my household, definitely not.
No. So
True.
we
That's
know,
so true.
we know how
Sure.
we know how to use our voices. We know how to breathe. But of course, when we encounter the world, when we get put behind a desk at
Sure.
age 5, 6,
Yes.
Yes.
those patterns start to be formed. Right?
Right.
And so we start, it inhibits optimal breathing. It inhibits optimal vocal support.
Okay.
And that's when we start speaking from our throats. We start straining. And with
Yes.
that very strident voice, it's quite hard to listen to somebody who's speaking to you from their throat, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
They're not connected to their bodies at all.
Okay.
So it's remember, go and watch a lion roaring,
Okay.
a dog barking.
Mm.
It'll tell you, it'll remind you how you came into the world. A baby, I mean, is the most classic.
I love watching my baby sleep at times.
Yeah.
I can just see that synchronicity of the breath.
Just-
It's like a lullaby, literally.
And the hold when a baby breathes, that
Yes.
Whole body.
torso
Yes.
moves, right?
Yes.
Not just the chest.
No.
And when the baby cries,
You know?
boom, it's like a what's
Yes.
those instruments?
Yeah,
those,
concertina.
Concertina.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And the lion, same. Watch a lion roaring. It's quite incredible.
Yeah.
It's right down. That transverse abdominis is what is powering and supporting the voice. And the
I often wonder, you mentioned earlier, like if you look at a wild animal, if they're activated, you can see how they go into flight mode, but then very soon thereafter they can restore themselves to a very sympathetic state,
yes,
parasympathetic state.
Yeah.
Whereas it's interesting to me, is it our cognitive processes that does
so.
it prohibit us as human beings?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. We're clever. No?
Too clever for our good.
Clever. So what we do is we stop that process.
Okay.
Right.
We short circuit that process. So the example of the tremor,
Yeah.
because the impulse is to tremor, right? But we
Yes.
short circuit it,
Okay.
Right.
and then it becomes locked in the body.
Wow.
It does, and it's quite profound when you discover that, because I also discovered that through breath. You know, for myself, just reflecting on again how everything was just held so tightly, and then the letting go. But then, of course, with the letting go,
Yeah,
because when you have to let go of those stories,
Yeah.
you're faced with something very different, and you now have to be almost, I want to say, like the creator of something different. You know, and what you, I guess, draw on for that. Yeah, I'm just wondering about that process, because there's a creativity, obviously, through your work. You know, I think that underpins everything you do.
Yeah.
Is the creative element of the human being, and we spoke a little bit when we did our short practice with you, and you were mentioning play as well. Yeah, like the human being and play and the creative process. What are your thoughts and feelings around that?
so I'm going to be a little anecdotal now.
Yes.
I've
Okay.
just come out of making a performance called An Apprenticeship with Sorrow, and it's taken from one of Francis Weller's chapters called in the book The Wild Edge of Sorrow.
Oh, incredible book.
And so An Apprenticeship with Sorrow is one of the chapters. And the performance is really, it explores personal and planetary grief. And the personal is really around the loss, living with and losing a parent to dementia. And Nina, my partner, also, her father also died of dementia, as did my mum. My mum lived with us for 4 years. And she died at the end of 2023. And so this performance we made this performance for many reasons.
Sure.
But primarily, I think it was we had been in like logistics mode for so long, making sure that the carers are there in place,
Sure.
making sure the medication is there, making sure mum's comfortable, mum couldn't talk, mum couldn't walk, mum couldn't see, but
Yeah.
so you're in this kind of logistics mode.
Sure.
And so when both our parents had died, we were like, here we are. Hello. And it had been like since 23, since 2013, sorry, when at the beginning of our relationship, we'd lived with this all the time. And so it was like, okay, now what? Let's make a play. And partly also because Nina's studying, doing a PhD around the connection between the kind of art and science and in relation to sustainability.
Sure.
So it's also the first chapter of his PhD thesis. But there was this impulse to make a play, for us to be able to get on the floor and play. And it, as challenging as the material is, there's a lot of play in the work.
Yes.
And it was just magical to be able to create together. And not be in that, and be as wild as we wanted to be in terms of our imaginations and so. But the other thing related to that was, and it speaks back to what we were talking about, how experiences get locked in the body. When I first started doing, we started making the work, I used to get these pains at the back of my head, terrible pains, back of my neck into my head, like stuck. I felt stuck. Okay. Doing this work and being witnessed by an audience and telling the story over and over again, it went away.
Wow.
Gone. Yeah. So moving the story, so through voice, through breath, and when you're telling, you're speaking, and we were performing, so we had to be on support and everything.
Yes, and in your body.
And to be able to play my mom and
wow.
It was just one of the things our director did was he said, well, something that's missing is conversations with your parents that you could never have.
Wow.
Because of the dementia.
Yeah.
So he said, you go away and Sarah, you answer as Papa Cedric, Nina's father. And Nina, you answer as Mama Denny. Nina, and ask the questions. Which we did. And those, and in a way, one audience member said it was like, and this speaks back to how our bringing our ancestors into the present.
Yes.
How we gave our parents agency.
Wow.
By we answered the questions, It's like they were talking through us. Wow. And also there's the PhD work that I mentioned earlier of asking each other questions and doing the destructuring tremor work and then free speaking. It was both Nina and I had two separate experiences where our parents, it was like our parents, we were channeling our parents. So those bits of text are in the performance verbatim.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's but we needed to create that space to make the play. And in making the play, we played and we were creative and we cried and we did all of the things.
Yes.
Wow.
So, so this is my most recent experience. I'm always telling people to play this. Am I doing it myself?
Yes.
And I did it.
You did.
And it was like, okay. Yeah. All right.
But I'm really struck by the witnessing.
Yeah. Or witnessing as...
Witnessing.
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 Yeah, witnessing.
The witnessing and the witnessing. I'm so struck by that. And us telling our story as human beings to each other and really sharing in that way. And then, of course, linked to that is this deep presence, which I think I said you really embody for me. And so you feel very real, when one is in your presence. I mean, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but I'm just struck by the witnessing and the presencing aspect.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why theatre, for me, theatre and performance is medicine, potentially.
Yes.
Not all theatre and performance,
sure.
But I think it can be medicine. When the last time I performed, the last time I spoke text, because I've done other kind of performance arty things in between. The last time I spoke text was in 2001 or 3, I can't remember.
Wow.
And in 1995, my sister, who was just 33, died of cancer. And I needed to make a performance. So it took me 7, 8 years to make the performance, to tell the story.
Okay.
And I had the same experience. So by telling that story over and over and over, it wasn't about me holding the things in my body, but it was about, I couldn't speak about my sister without crying prior to performing and making that play. After, I could speak about her without crying, and I could find that, and so it was a different experience. This one, that was in my body, like my mom's stuff was in my body.
Yes.
But with the other one, it was my own pain around the loss of my sister. And I made the performance.
Yeah.
And something shifted. Big healing work.
It's, and again, just brings me back to this idea that I think worldwide people are more actively working with, which is moving the energy from the internal space outward.
And then allowing it back in as well.
Yes, I was going to say. Yes, letting it back in and then...
So you can live differently with it.
Yes.
Because it doesn't go away.
No, but there's a transformation there.
You change your relationship with it.
Love that. Yes.
That's sweet.
It doesn't necessarily change.
No.
You change your relationship with it so that it can live differently in you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really believe that people that are artistic and creative are really the leaders in the world. If you look at Steve Jobs, he was asked once, do your kids also have an iPad? And he says, no, I love creating and coming up with a concept, and we have people, very clever people that do it. But myself and my kids, when we sit at a dinner table, we talk about art and creativity.
There you go.
So the people that are leaders in any position in the world are really people that are creatives.
And I think we all are creative, actually.
Yes.
If we just allow ourselves to be.
Yes.
Very true.
Yes.
In whatever way. It may be through cooking. It may be through dancing. It may be through whatever.
What do you think that's about, though? Because I'm pretty sure you've heard this before. You have so many people out there saying, but I'm not the creative kind. I'm not artistic.
So,
what is that about?
So I think, like, if you look at nature, right? Nature is creative. It's creative.
Yes.
Its basis is creativity.
Sure. It's like constantly creative.
And so I think our biggest wound is the wound of separation, and how we have separated ourselves from the ecosystem of life, really.
Yes.
The larger ecosystem of life. So when we separate, and what is that? What is that? That's industrialization, that's capitalism, that's colonialism, that's all of that, right?
Yes.
So patriarchy, all of that. So when we I think when we identify as other and not part of, it's not easy to be creative.
Yes.
I think, but when we start to see ourselves as part of a larger ecosystem, which is inherently creative.
Yeah.
Yes.
We too are then creative.
Yes. Yes.
In however it manifests, there's no, creativity doesn't look a particular way.
Yes. And I mean, I've been reading a lot about and seeing a lot of stuff as well around identifying with the ecosystem. So understanding that you are it and it is you. I'm sure you've seen side-by-side pictures of the fingerprint with the tree trunk and the lungs and the trees. And so can we talk a little bit more about, going back to your bio, that you have a particular interest in embodied practices that focus on presencing, co-sensing, collaborating, and co-generating as a way of transforming egosystems to ecosystems.
Yes, so that's borrowed from Otto Scharmer of the presence process. He talks about this, and it's exactly what we've said now.
Okay.
So when we are we separate ourselves from the larger ecosystem of life with water body, we separate ourselves from water bodies, plants, animals, insects,
yes,
mountains, landscapes. we enter into that ego system space.
Yes.
The space of the individual, the space of capitalism. But when we allow ourselves, so it's exactly what you said, when we allow ourselves to actually experience that we are part of the larger ecosystem of life, that's when we tap into the ecosystem.
Yeah. I think my question I would have for the everyday person that struggles to find space to be present with the commitments of life. How do they get to a space if they're a family and they've got 3 kids, young kids, and the intention is to want to be more present? How do they find that space to actually to be more present so that they can be partake more in the ecosystem than driving the ego system?
I think it starts with, it's going to sound contradictory now, with discipline, actually.
Sure.
Because I think discipline is a thing in all traditional practices as well. There's a discipline, there's a form, right? You don't just do something like that. There's a particular form, and there's a reason for that form.
Yeah.
So, and it's about finding a practice. And so whatever that practice may be, let me use breathwork as an example, because that's what I do,
Yes.
what I teach,
Yes.
and what Shaamiela does.
Yes.
Bookend your day, your days, with 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, doing a breathwork practice or practices.
Sure.
You may find that you want to do something in the middle of the day or at 4 o'clock as well. But if you can just bookend your day, right, and commit to that, that's where the discipline comes in.
Yes.
You'll find that probably 40 days later, you have created a new habit.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
But you've also, I don't think it's about creating a new habit. I think it's about remembering an old habit.
Are you just saying?
And you'll probably find that you want that 5 minutes will increase to 10 minutes. And then I like to see it as a rehearsal for reality.
Yes.
So if you bookend your day, so you do the practices to rehearse, to stay with the kind of theater jargon.
Yeah.
Yes.
For when you need it in the day.
Okay.
Because what are you doing? You're developing your breath's intelligence.
Yes.
Got you.
So the BQ, right? We know about EQ. There's a BQ as well.
There is a BQ.
And so you're developing your breath's intelligence. So the breath's intelligence can kick in when it needs to in the day, when you need to be in your body and present.
Sure.
But it takes time, right?
Yeah.
Because we are so disconnected.
Yes.
We are so far from that small baby that came into the world.
Yeah.
So we need to also be patient with ourselves and not expect that it's going to happen in 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually makes me very keen on sort of my next. The curiosity is very key to our. It's one of the principles of our podcast is to just stay curious but to stay curious humans, and that's an internal process as well as an external process. I'm just wondering though, like, what does embodied curiosity look like?
So, I think it's about being curious about what you're feeling, what sensations are arising in the body.
Yes.
And not necessarily trying to box it or name it and give it a story. I think it's about, I'm feeling like my stomach is whirling around like a tornado, whatever. And not go, it must be.
Right.
So resist the temptation to go into the story in the head.
Yes.
That goes round and round and round.
Sure.
Like a on a loop machine.
Yes.
Not a loop machine, but on a loop.
Yes.
And so that's just a story in the head.
Yes.
But if you're able to be curious about, oh my gosh, and now it's moving to my left knee. And so follow that. And so the curiosity opens up the space for energy to move as well.
Okay.
And then just follow that movement. Okay. And so what you're doing then, this is also the work of Michael Brown, the presence process. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with his work. He's a South African.
Okay.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how you stay with the sensations in the body.
Yes.
And you become curious about that.
Mm.
And resist, as I said earlier, the temptation to go into the story in the head.
Yes.
Because then you get stuck in your head. And you just go round and round and round like a hamster. But this thing of being curious about the sensations in the body is what also assists to move the energy. To move the energy so that you can change your relationship with whatever that is happening in the body. The story actually doesn't matter.
Right. I feel like you need to say that again.
Yes.
Because it's, I don't know, like I find that mindfulness is it's so fundamental to the way that I work in my practice as well. And so my clients already know. I knew you were going to ask me that question. What's the question? Tell me what the story is. And then tell me what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Because they're not the same thing, usually.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because we're so convinced of that story.
Yes.
You know, we're so convinced.
And that story was probably, that feeling in the body is probably, and again, this is with thanks to Michael Brown, was probably formed in our first 7 years, right?
Sure.
Yes.
But then it becomes a whole other thing.
Yeah. Yes, it's taken on a life of its own.
Taken on a life of its own.
Yeah.
So when we become attached to that story, we also don't really allow space for the other to come in.
Very true.
That's absolutely true. And sorry, I'm just reflecting that I work with couples as well. And so I'm often asking, tell me what the story is, and then tell me what's actually happening here.
Yeah.
And you watch people hold on to that story because I want this to be true about you. Yeah. And how that, exactly like you say, disconnects. Yeah. It's very subtle. Yeah. It can be very subtle, this disconnect that we feel. And I'm also, again, trying to coming back to what you were talking about with regards to, you know, the ecosystem versus the ecosystem, that idea of separation and how we these subtle forms of separation and subtle forms of disconnect. I'm just wondering, what have you noticed in working with people? What does that look like? You know, those subtle forms of disconnection and then also separation. What have you observed?
I mean, I work a lot with young people at university level. And it's imperative that we work with the body.
Yes.
Because the voice is the body.
Yes.
It's not separate from the body. The breath is the body. Right?
Yes.
It's not separate.
Yes.
And I find that initially there's such a disconnect. And there's a fear actually around connecting with the body. Because of technology and if you're sitting on your cell phone and the posture of sitting on that's actually, I'm also do a lot of work around breath and emotions, and I work with the Sanskrit system of rasa performance. It's an over 2,000-year-old system, which if the key emotions or the sensations, the rasa is the sensation of an emotion, can be accessed through the breath. So each emotion has a primary emotion in this rasa system, has a breath pattern, the direction of the breath, so the rhythm of the breath, the direction of the breath, and placement. So this, if you're on your cell phone, you collapse in the center, your shoulders around it. That is the posture of sadness.
All right. Wow.
Yeah. In the system, over 2,000-year system of rasa, right? So okay. So there's a lot of kind of closed, disconnected body. And also your diaphragm is tight.
Sure.
And then the breath can't move. And
right.
So when I start to do the work that we did a little bit of the Fitzmaurice Voicework, and I only do that in third year once we've done a whole lot of other work, right? In other ways of resonance work, actually. like feeling the breath in the body through the body.
Sure.
People, the students become, it can be quite overwhelming when they start to feel. It's quite scary
Okay.
and overwhelming because they're feeling. So that's, the disconnect is real. And I think more than ever in this world, we need to be connected to our bodies.
Yes.
Because how can we possibly have empathy if we cannot feel?
Here we go.
That's it. That's absolutely it.
Yeah. So this work is so important with young people. Yeah, all people, but I think.
Yeah, because, I mean, we all of different generations here in this room, but we also, all of us are part of a generation where there wasn't computers and apps and cell phones.
Generation X.
Yes, we remember that. I mean,
and resilient, eh?
It was like we were the barefoot in the street children. And so like we have a memory of that. And that lives within us. This generation of children don't have that.
That's right.
And I'm thinking about the remembering, go back and fetch.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean, Sankofa? And we have something to go back to. We can go and fetch that. And and so our kids of this day and age, and I mean, I also have teenagers, and they don't know a world without it. Although we've also tried. And, you know, it's such encouragement that you said they only had cell phones at 15, your daughters. That it's, you know, that I'm also doing that. I'm trying to delay that as long as I can.
And books, read books.
Yes.
We would go out we would go out to a coffee shop or for lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
And children at other tables would be on their iPads or whatever. Pad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our girls would take out their books. Their actual books.
How refreshing.
I love it.
Yeah.
And read. And so, and I think it's instilled something in them. The one is studying fine art, the other theatre, you know. So they're in they're in that space of creativity and making with bodies, you know. So I think it's quite important to actually, and you'll get a lot of resistance.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But it's worth it. It's worth actually being
I'm so glad you
the
said that.
bad somebody.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, no, because they'll come back and say thank you.
Yes.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that.
But you have to ride out those years of you being like just the worst person, cruel, all of that.
Yeah, like there's so much discomfort you have to sit through.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and this is a big part of conscious parenting. Lincoln and I often talk about it. Is just, you know, even as we speak about the body and being aware of the body, it's the consciousness of it. It's the consciousness of the breath that matters. And so that almost feels like the word, you know, constantly being in relationship with your consciousness.
Yes.
You know. Yeah, it's a profound thing.
Yeah, it's very true. Shaamiela says about kind of being very conscious in how you raise your kids. There are times when you're at that threshold where you're not sure how you're going to react to your child, and it's like taking that breath and realizing you go either way. Being conscious about that. And we spoke about it just before we came on the podcast, before you arrived today, saying how incredibly hard it is, but hopefully it'll be very rewarding one day that you've chosen to take a different stance with your kids. If I look at it now, sport was very important in my household, and kind of your identity was defined on how well you did at sports. Yet with my son, I'm trying to encourage reading a lot, especially at nighttime, taking time aside. And I can see how that spurred his curiosity, imagination, and kind of allowing him to find his own space in the world, and really just being a proponent of supporting him through that journey. And I can really see at a very young age how his imagination is just run wild.
Reading to your children is key.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I love the part of you saying how important creativity is and playfulness. Yeah.
Our children went to Waldorf, so they
Okay.
Oh, of course.
they didn't read till they were 9. I mean, they were read too.
Sure.
I love that.
Sure.
But, you know,
I love that.
Yeah.
No, it's not much sport.
Sure.
Yeah. But there's other ways I think they learn to be in their body, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they did silks, actually.
Okay.
They were
Okay.
climbing those
Yes.
Silk things and doing most intricate
maneuvers.
And like a strategy.
Yes, it
taught
is.
them strategy.
Interesting. Yeah, you're just so aware of how, I want to say, like, it's this canvas, and this incredible artwork that could be made. And I often think, at least, through doing my own shadow work and becoming aware of, like, not projecting onto my children, which is very hard as a parent, but just how incredibly, again, just naturally creative they are and deeply intelligent they are, just naturally. Because we almost think of these things as, I don't know, mechanical stuff we need to develop within our kids. There's almost a mistrust that they come with it. They come with it into the world, and this canvas can be theirs to make as they want it, whatever and however that looks. And I have to say, like, besides the challenging days when I feel irritated or, at my wit's end, I'm fascinated by that aspect of being, I want to say, like a custodian of this human, the soul in the world.
There's that Khalil Gibran's, right?
Yes.
Your children are not your children. That Sweet Honey in the Rock. Put that to music. You must listen to it.
Okay, well.
I think I just want to ask, from your work you've done in Africa, what are some of the cultural practices that they kind of do in the community that you feel maybe is lacking in the West to reconnect you to the body, that you've maybe seen in your experiences of doing some work in Africa?
Well, right here in Cape Town.
Yeah.
I have experienced in Hlombe, in ceremony, you dance and you sing and you cleanse. So cleanse is a particular way of dancing.
Yeah.
Where the ball of your foot and the heel hit the ground, and you move in a circle, and you sing, and there is a drum, igubu, and like the San trance dance.
So
it wakes up that energy, that life force. By moving in a way, you're kind of waking up that life force. And it moves that energy through the body.
Okay.
So it opens up space.
Yeah.
Similarly, I have a PhD student who's doing his corrections. He's just about to submit his library copy.
Sure.
He's from Ghana. He's from the Anlo Ewe.
Okay.
And the term seselelame is actually Anlo Ewe, which has been translated. The seselelame is translated into feel it, flesh inside. And I had the privilege of working with him in Ghana, in Accra, in the botanical gardens, on his PhD project, which really was around designing this is what he's called it, designing a regenerative African performance-making process. And he's gone to his Anlo Ewe practices, and he worked with the priests from the Anlo Ewe tradition. So, and I felt very, very honored to have experienced this with Elikim, and to have met the priests and work with them, and to also understand Seselelame a little bit more. So I think in most traditions that still embrace or indigenous wisdoms and knowledge, you will find embodied practices that wake up the life force. That whether it's through chanting, whether it's through moving, whether it's through gami. Yeah. It's there.
Yeah, I'm and as you share that, again, I'm just reminded of a willingness to remember. That, maybe it's about our willingness to remember, to get curious about, what tradition existed within your family, within your lineage. Like, go remember, And I think, as you were saying, like you speak to the ancestors, you go and commune.
It's a very interesting thing, this, because when I was told that I have a calling and it's from my grandmother on my father's side, and she had a gift of healing and wasn't able to, for various reasons.
Sure.
Now it's landed on me, and I was like, but why am I being? Why this form? I'm not. I'm not. Is it closer?
Yeah.
Sure.
Why this form? And my teacher said, do not question your ancestors. They have brought you to me. They have brought you here. And so over time, we've had conversations around this. And I think because, I have my Celtic roots are there, but I have no connection with my Celtic roots. Like what?
Yes.
So this is where I am right now in the world. And so the form, I'm learning the form. And it's a form.
Got you.
Yeah.
It's a form.
Got you.
So, because I really was like, why? I'm like, this is umlungu. What am I doing? And it was like, don't question. They have brought you here.
Yes.
And you need to understand the form so that you can do the healing work that has been passed on to you.
Yes.
Yes. And so
trust the wisdom of the ones who have lived lifetimes.
So even if it's you can't find where must try. What did my Celtic ancestors do? I have no connection. I have no resonance with it.
Sure,
but what's here?
Yes. Right.
And so there's a bigger some people may say it's appropriation. I don't know. That's a big conversation.
Yeah, that is a big conversation.
But I was basically said
don't question. Yeah, I'm just remembering, I won't necessarily talk about it here. I don't think we have the time, but I remember a conversation we were having at the recent breathwork retreat. And I was saying to you how profound it is, just even you and Nina's togetherness in terms of the ancestral sort of calling.
Yeah.
It is profound. Just as a closing reflection, you were talking about empathy earlier on, and I've been so aware, and I think maybe a lot of people have been so aware of this divide between the individual experience versus that of the community. And so much of your work and who you embody, and how you exist in this world is, to me, about the invitation to community. I guess the question forming in my head is about, I don't know, people who have fear around that, blocks around that, hesitation around that. I know from myself, if there's been times I've stayed away from community, it's because I haven't felt safe. But not because they were unsafe necessarily.
Sure.
But because I had to establish some kind of safety with myself first and then be able to come back to that.
Yeah.
But I want to come back to that. So I'm just wondering if you could share some of your wisdom around that.
I think you brought up the issue of safety, or the matter of safety. It was not an issue. I think it's a matter. And I think it's important. I think that you need to feel safe within yourself, to be able to feel safe. Because we live in the world that we live in.
Yes.
If we didn't live in the world that we live in, I think it would be very different. So it's about also listening deeply to your intuition. And it's a long conversation. This,
yes, it is.
Sometimes it's like, when is it the intuition and when is it fear? That's what's how to tell the difference between the two?
Yeah.
But I think it's about learning to listen differently, and not to listen from the story in the head, and not perhaps try to move out of that kind of the space of woundology, as Carolyn Mace would call it, right? Because I think often So it's a lot. I don't know if I can answer it, but I think it's about. I think about really being able to discern and to listen differently, and to be able to discern in terms of this question of safety.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to add one thing that I heard, and I thought it was quite relevant. They were speaking about this whole thing about safety, but more in a community level. Like, what are some of the things that's causing a lot of fear amongst people? And if you look at sort of government systems and kind of what they're doing for voters, like for votes, and how they're separating people and categorizing people, it's basically they're creating ideological bunkers. So, like, if someone looks different from you, then I will tell you, like, that's the problem, and I just sort it out, right? But then you get in a bunker, everyone that agrees with you in your own little bunker, ideological bunker. Yeah. Now, as soon as after a couple of years, someone says to you, but hang on, actually, how are we going to solve these problems? Like, I've thought about it. Then suddenly they'll reject you because now you're not agreeing. So it's like, I think it was the part that you were saying now about having intuition to sometimes question whether it's systems, whatever that may be. And discernment, very, very true, because a lot of the things are driven by fear. And like I said, it's a very in-depth conversation. But I could relate it so much because if I look at particular systems in the West currently happening now, that's really what's playing out.
There's no space for the other.
There we go.
Yes.
And
no space.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's But it's a big question, that.
Yeah.
It's a big question.
It is. Yeah. And it's a very, again, there's almost a deep presence we need with ourselves. To really be present for that conversation. But yeah, I think you've answered it throughout. I think the message for me is very clearly about coming back to the body and coming back to the breath and trusting its wisdom, and again, that natural innate intelligence that lives there. Yeah. And it's really just about us, again, being willing to listen to it.
Yeah.
So that's I suppose part of listening differently.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, for someone like myself that hasn't had as much experience as breathwork, and I think for me it's about being curious.
Yes.
That curiosity, whatever it is that if you find yourself in a healing journey, about really going down the road of saying, like, are there different modalities I can explore? Not just traditional methods of healing. And being curious about it, because when we are able to make ourselves more curious, we actually find different outcomes. Because like you're saying, it's that continuous loop. It's the same story played over that we've reenacted in our head. But once you're willing to go down a different road, you might get a different outcome. But without the curiosity and the willingness to do it, there can be no different outcome. Yeah. So, Sarah, for myself, thank you so much. Thank you for the session you did prior to the conversation today, but also just for your insights. Wow, it's really taken me to a different realm. So much of doing the podcast is part of my own healing. So I love the different voices, literally and figuratively. Yeah. But particularly your voice today and a different outlook you've given me. It really resonates a lot with me, and I'm sure it will with a lot of people. So thank you so much for your time and really taking the time to come out today.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. I think sometimes just sitting with people, and having conversations and just being with them, the witnessing, is exactly as Lincoln said, is part of the healing. And I certainly felt that today, and how this is such a lived experience for you, which I absolutely am so grateful to experience and to be in the presence of, because that in itself is an energetic wisdom you share just by being here. Yeah. And so I feel like I've received a lot of that today, Thank
you, Shaamiela. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, really. You're so welcome.
It's also such a gift to be able to stop and reflect.
Yes.
Because one doesn't always give oneself
to
stop and reflect. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a great reflection.
Could we maybe just ask you if there is a quote or just a wisdom,
anything, a last
that
little
you feel
pearl
like
of wisdom,
you wanna,
or anything that you feel that you'd love to share.
You want to leave us with and leave our listeners with.
I think a pearl of wisdom is what I was saying earlier. Just give yourself the time and the space to be with your breath.
Yeah.
Stay curious.
Yes.
Stay curious.
Yeah.
to be with your breath. Because if you're able to be with your breath, you are able to be with others, because the breath is relational.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Wow. I love that. All I'll say today is I'm realizing as I'm aging in life, the little I do actually know. And it's so encouraging for me to be a witness to this, because I realize it's a lifelong journey of healing. So thank you so much, Sarah. From myself, Lincoln.
And from me, Shaamiela, we send you greetings and love.
Well, that was The Human Story, brought to you by Yoked Media. Stay tuned for more on The Human Story.